Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today's Ekadashi. Wishing everyone a very happy Ekadashi.
Happy Ekadashi.
Continue reading from Canto 9, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 2. Does anyone remember what we read previously?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, we had read that Prashadra was a very pious and did and very dedicated to cow protection. And he was a pure devotee and became a great saint. Prashadra was cursed to become a Shudra because he had accidentally killed a cow thinking that it was a tiger. And for that, he was cursed to become a Shudra. So he took up the yoga process and became a devotee. He engaged in devotional service and so he avoided the terrible consequence of becoming a Shudra and instead he returned home back to Godhead. So just by thinking of the Lord takes care of the devotee's sinful activities. His karma is finished. It's just taken away. So yeah. Manu's younger son, Kavi, gave the kingdom before he reached his youth and he went to the forest and engaged in devotional service and he got perfection. So, yeah, Vaivasta Manu had 10 sons. So, all the names of the sons, their qualities were mentioned. And he had another son also, Karu, and he too was engaged in devotional service. Some of the sons and members like Nirga and if one is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya, never by birth, but by the quality, by his qualities. The sacrificial performed by Maruta, another son, was very beautiful. Everything was made of gold. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's I remember.
Okay, thank you. So we can see by the story of Prashadra that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, surrender unto me and I will take care of all your sinful reactions. And Prashadra surrendered unto Krishna and all his sinful reactions was gone. He engaged in devotional service and he went back home, back to Godhead. Also, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, we can see where was Tamanu. Some of his sons became Kshatriyas, some became Brahman, some became Vaishyas. Yeah. So yeah, it's by quality. Okay, thank you so much. Let's go on then. Today's text is text 30. Tatsuta kevalastasmad
तत्सुतः केवलस्तस्माद्
dunduman vegavamstatah
धुम्धुमान् वेगवांस्ततः
buddhastasya bhavat yasya
बुद्धस्तस्य भवत्यस्य
trina bindur mahipati.
तृणबिन्दुमहीपतिः.
Okay. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The son of Nara was Kevala and his son was Dunduman, whose son was Vegavan. Vegavan's son was Buddha, and Buddha's son was Trinabindu, who became the king of this earth. So going on to the lineages, we are continuing to speak of the lineages, and one of the son Trinabindu became the king of this earth. Tambeje Lambusha Devi
Tambeje
Tambeje Lambusha
Devi
Devi
Bhajaniya Gunalayam
Bhajaniya
Janiya
Gunalayam
Gunalayam
Var Apsara Yata Putra
Var Apsarayata
Varapsarayata
Putraha
Putra
Kanya Chela Vil Abhavat.
Kanya
Kanya Chela
Chilabhavat.
Bhavat
The best of the Apsaras, the highly qualified girl named Alambusha, accepted the similarly qualified Trinabindu as her husband. She gave birth to a few sons and a daughter known as Ilavila. So Trinabandhu was one of the kings of the earth. He's married an Apsara. Apsara's name is Alambusha, and they have a daughter, Ilavila. Yasyam Utpadayam Asa
Yasya yam utpadayam
Padayam
asa
Asa
Vishravadhanadam Sutam
Vishravadhandam
Padayam
sutam
Sutam
Pradaya Vidyam Paramam
Pradaya
Pradaya
vidya
Vidyam
paramam
Rishir Yogeshwaraha Pitu.
Rishir Yogeshwara Pituhu.
After the great saint Vishrava, the master of mystic yoga, received absolute knowledge from his father, he begot in the womb of Ilavila the greatly celebrated son known as Kuvera, the giver of money. Okay. After the great saint Vishrava. So the master, so Ilavila, the daughter of Trinabindu and Alambusha, she marries a saint. The saint's name is Vishrava. He was a mystic yogi. He knew about the absolute truth. And then they got a son called Kovera. Very famous, no? Kovera,
Yeah.
giver of money.
And also, what they mentioned Buddha, that's nothing to do with it. Gautama Buddha, right?
Yeah, no, no, no,
No, no,
no, no.
nothing. Right?
Yeah,
Not
nothing. Yeah, nothing. Lord Buddha, he went for meditation, then, he renounced everything. Okay. Vishala Shunya Bandhuscha
Vishalaha
Kala Shunya
Shunyabanduscha
Bandhuscha
Dhumraketuscha Tatsutam
Dhumriketuscha Tatsutaha
Tatsata
Vishalo Vamshakrit Raja
Vishalo
Vishaluvam
Vamsharaja
Shakritraja
Vaishalim Nirmame Purim.
Vaishalim Nirmame
Mame
Purim
Purim
Trinabindu had three sons named Vishal, Shunyabandhu, and Dhumraketu. Among these three, Vishal created a dynasty and constructed a palace called Vaishali. So Trinabandhu had three sons, Vishal, Shunyabandhu, and Dhumraketu. And then Vishal created a palace and a dynasty called Vaishali. He had a dynasty called Vaishali and a palace. Okay. So first we heard about his daughter and then these are the sons. Hemachandra Sutastasya
Hemachandra
Hemachandra
Tasya
Sutastasya
Dhumrakshastasya Chatmaja
Dhumrakshastasya
Dhumrakshastasya
Tatmajaha
Chatmaja
Tatputrat Sammayad Asit
Tatputra
Tatputra Samyamadasa
Samyamat Asi
Krish Ashava Sahadevaja
Krishashva
Ashvaha Sahadevaja
Sahajadevajaha.
The son of Vishal was known as Hemachandra. His son was Dhumraraksha. and his son was Samyama, whose sons were Devaja and Krishashva. So these are the sons of Vishal and their sons. Krishashvat Soma Datto Bhut.
Krisha Swat Somadatyo
Vishwasvatso
Bhut.
Yoshva Medher Idaspatim.
Yo Ashvamedha Indaspati.
Yogidaspati
Ishtva Purusham Apakriyam.
Ishta
Ishtva
Purusham
Purusham
Apagraya.
Apakriyam
Gatim Yogeshvara Shritam.
Gatim Yogeshvara Shritam.
Sauma Dattistu Sumatis.
Somadastistu
Somadiktu
Sumati.
Sumati
Tatputro Janma Jana Me Jaya.
Tatputro Janame Jayaha.
Tatputrajanamejayah
Ete Veshala Bhupalas.
Ete
Ite
Veshala
Vishalabhu
Bhupala.
Trina Bindur Yashodaraha.
Trinar Bindu
Bindu
Yashodharaha.
Yashodhara
The son of Krishashva was Somadatta, who performed Ashwamedh sacrifices and thus satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. By worshipping the Supreme Lord, he achieved the most exalted post, a residence on the planet to which great mystic yogis are elevated. The son of Somadatta was Sumati, whose son was Janmajaya. All these kings appearing in the dynasty of Vishal properly maintained the celebrated position of King Trinabindu. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the ninth canto, second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Dynasties of the Sons of Manu. So we certainly heard a lot of names, the sons of Manu, and then their sons and their dynasties. Does anyone have any comments?
I have one question, Shilpaji. It's written that Janmajay. So Janmajay was also the grandson of Krishna, is it?
Not of Krishna. Janmajaya was the son
Yudhishthir,
of Parikshit.
Parikshit.
But that's
Okay.
another Janmajaya.
But that's different Janmajay. But they were Janmajay. The name was same,
The,
right?
the name is same,
Name is
yeah.
same.
But they're
Okay.
different people.
Yeah, they're different. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Then let's go on to chapter 3.
Yeah.
Chapter 3, the marriage of Sukanya and Chyavanamani. So we are going to hear of a marriage in this. Okay, this chapter describes the dynasty of Sharyati, another son of Manu, and also tells about Sukanya and Revati. Devagya Sharyati gave instructions about what to do in the ritualistic ceremony observed on the second day of the yajna of the Angirasas. One day, Sharyati, along with his daughter, known as Sukanya, went to the ashram of Chayavana Muni. There, Sukanya saw two glowing substances within a hole of earthworms, and by chance she pierced those two glowing substances. As soon as she did this, blood began to ooze from that hole. Consequently, King Sharyati and his companions suffered from constipation and inability to pass urine. When the king asked why circumstances had suddenly changed, he found that Sukanya was the cause of this misfortune. Then they all offered prayers to Chyavanamuni just to satisfy him according to his own desire. And Devagya Sharyati offered his daughter to Chyavanamuni, who was a very old man. When the heavenly when the heavenly physicians, the Ashwini Kumar brothers, once visited Chyavanamuni, the Muni requested them to give him back his youth. These two physicians took Chyavanamuni to a particular lake in which they bathed and regained full youth. After this, Sukanya could not distinguish her husband. She then surrendered unto the Ashwini Kumaras, who were very satisfied with her chastity and who therefore introduced her again to her husband. Chavana Muni then engaged King Sharyati in performing the Soma Yagya and gave the Ashwini Kumaras the privilege to drink Somras. The king of heaven, Lord Indra, became very angry at this, but he could do no harm to Sharyati. Henceforward, the Ashwini Kumar physicians were able to share in the Somras. Sharyati later had three sons named Uttana Barhi, Anartha, and Bhurishena. Anartha had one son whose name was Revata. Revat had 100 sons, of whom the eldest was Kakudmi. Kakudmi was advised by Lord Brahma to offer his beautiful daughter Revati to Baladev, who belongs to the Vishnu Tattva category. After doing this, Kakudmi retired from family life and entered the forest of Badrikashram to execute austerities and penances. So this was just a brief summary of what we will read in this chapter. Let's read text by text. Text 1, Shri Shukavacha
Shri
Shri
Shukla
Shukla
Uvacha
Uvacha
Sharyatir Manavo Raja
Sharyati Manavo
Sharyatirmanavo
Raja
Raja
Brahmishtha Sambhabhu Sambhabhuvaha
Brahmishtah
Sam
Sambhabhuvaha
Yova Angirasam Satre
Yova Angirasam
Sam
Satre
Dvitiyam Ahar Uchivan.
Dutiyam Aha Uchivan.
Sri Sukadev Goswami continued, O king, Sharyati, another son of Manu, was a ruler completely aware of Vedic knowledge. He gave instructions about the functions for the second day of the yajna to be performed by the descendants of Angira. So now Sukadev Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj about Sharyati, who is also one of the sons of Manu. And he knew the Vedas and he knew how the yajnas was to be performed. Um, Sukanya nama tasyasit.
Sukanya
Sukanya
Nama
Tasyasi
Tasyasi
Kanya kamalalochana.
Kanya
Kanya
Kamalalochana
Kamalalochana
Taya sardam vanagato.
Taya
Taya
Sadham Vanagato
Sadhambanagato
He agamach chayavan ashramam.
He
He
Agamachyavan
Agarimachayam
Ashramam.
Ashramam
Sharyati had a beautiful lotus-eyed daughter named Sukanya, with whom he went to the forest to see the ashram of Chavanamuni. So he's going with his daughter. Sa Sakhi bi parivrita
Sasaki
Sasakibi
Viparita
Parivrita
vichinvanti angri angripan vane
Vichinvanti
Vichinvanti
Angripan
Angipanvani
Pane
valmika randre tadarshe
Valmika
Valmikarandri
Randridadarshe
Dadrishi
kadyote iva jyotishi.
Khagote
Katyoti
Vajyotishi.
Vajyoti
While that Sukanya, surrounded by her friends, was collecting various types of fruits from the trees in the forest, she saw within the hole of an earthworm two things glowing like luminaries. So it was like kind of a hill, and she's seeing two glowing things coming out of there. Yeah. Te deva chodita bala
Te
Te
Dev
Deva Chodita
Bala
Bala
jyotishi kantakena vai
Jyotishi
Jyotishi
Kantake
Kantaki
Nave
Nave
avidyan mukta bhavena
Avidya
Avidyan
Mukta
Mukta
Vena
Bhavena
susravasraktato bahi.
Susravastra
Susrapastato
tato
Vahi.
bahihi.
As if induced by providence, the girl ignorantly pierced those two glowworms with a thorn, and when they were pierced, blood began to ooze out of them. So she's seeing two glowing things, and she pierced them, and blood is coming out. He's saying as if induced by providence, you know, as if induced by providence. The providence wanted this to happen. Okay. Shakrin Mutra Nirodho Bhut.
Shakrin
Sakrimutra
Mutra
nirodha
Nirodho Bhut.
Sainikanam cha tatshanat.
Sainikanam cha
Sainikanam
chana
Chatakshana.
Rajarishis upalakshya.
Rajarishtam
Rajarishis
alakshya
Upalakshya.
Purushan Vismito Bravid.
Purushan
Purushan
Smrito
Vismito
Brahmi.
Brahit.
Thereupon all the soldiers of Sharyati were immediately obstructed from passing urine and stool. Upon perceiving this, Sharyati spoke to his associates in surprise. Sharyati is surprised. Hey, what happened suddenly, you know? What happened? Api abhadram na yushmabhir.
Api abhadram na yusmabhir.
Bhargavasya vicheshtitam.
Bhargavasya vichestitam.
Vyaktam kenapi nastasya.
Vyaktam kenapi nastasya.
Kritam ashrama dushanam.
Kritam ashrama dushanam.
How strange it is that one of us has attempted to do something wrong to Chyavanamuni, the son of Brigu. It certainly appears that someone among us has polluted this ashram. So Sharyati is intelligent. He's saying, somebody must have offended Chyavanamuni. That's why we are all suffering here. Sukanya praha pitaram.
Tukanya
Kanya praha
prahapitaram.
pitaram
Bhita kinchit kritam maya.
Bhita
bheta
kinchit
kinchit
kritam
kritam
maya.
maya
Dve jyotishi ajanantya anantya.
Dve
dve
jyotihi
jyotishi
ajanantya.
ajanyantyan
Nirbhine kantakena vai.
Nirbhinne
nirbhaine
kantakena
kantakena
ve.
vo.
Being very much afraid, the girl Sukanya said to her father, I have done something wrong, for I have ignorantly pierced these two luminous substances with a thorn. So when the father is thinking certainly somebody is offended Chevanamuni, the little girl is coming and telling her, I've I've pierced, I thought I saw these two glowing things, I took a thorn and I have pierced it. Duhitustad vacha shrutva.
Duhi
Duhitastatvacha
tatvacha shrutva.
shrutva
Sharyatir jata sadvasaha.
Sharyati
Sharyati jata
jatasya.
sadhavas
Munim prasadayam asa.
Munim
munim
prasadayam
prasadayam
asa.
asa
Valmikantar hitam shane.
Valmiki
Valmiki
Kantarhitam Sane.
After hearing the statement by his daughter, King Sharyati was very much afraid. In various ways, he tried to appease Chavanamuni, for it was he who sat within the hole of the earthworm. So it was Chavanamuni himself who was sitting there. Tad abhiprayam agyaya.
tat
Tat
abhiprayam
abhiprayam agyanam
agyaya.
Pradaduhitaram mune.
Pradatuhitaram
pradatuhitaram
mune.
muni
Krichran muktastam amantraya.
Krichran
kricharam
muktastam
muktastam
amatrya.
amatraya
Puram prayat samahitaha.
Puram prayat
Prayat
samahita.
samabhita.
King Sharyati, being very contemplative and thus understanding Chavana Muni's purpose, gave his daughter in charity to the sage. Thus released from danger with great difficulty, he took permission from Chavana Muni and returned home. The king, after hearing the statement of his daughter, certainly told the great sage Chavana Muni everything about how his daughter had ignorantly committed such an offense. The Muni, however, inquired from the king whether the daughter was married. In this way, the king, understanding the purpose of the great sage Chavana Muni, tad abhiprayam agyaya, immediately gave the Muni his daughter in charity and escaped the danger of being cursed. Thus, with the permission of the great sage, the king returned home. So the king is telling Chavanamuni, it was my daughter, she didn't know, she just by mistakenly she pierced these two glowing things. And I'm sorry about this. And Chavanamuni is asking the king, oh, is your daughter married? And the king is like, he's understanding. So he got his daughter married. He gave his daughter to Chavana Muni, got them married, and now he's going back home. Sukanya Chavanam Prapya
Sukanya
Sukanya
chavan
chavanam
prapya
prapya.
Patim Paramakopanam
patim
Parvatam
paramakopanam
kopanam.
Prinayam Asa Chittagya
prinayam
Prinayam
asa
asa
chittagnya
chittagya.
Apramat Anuvrittibihi.
apramattanuvrittihi.
Pramatanovrittibhi.
Chavanamuni was very irritable, but since Sukanya had gotten him as her husband, she dealt with him carefully, according to his mood. Knowing his mind, she performed service to him without being bewildered. This is an indication of the relationship between husband and wife. A great personality like Chavanamuni has the temperament of always wanting to be in a superior position. Such a person cannot submit to anyone. Therefore, Chavanamuni had an irritable temperament. His wife Sukanya could understand his attitude, and under the circumstances, she treated him accordingly. If any wife wants to be happy with her husband, she must try to understand her husband's temperament and please him. This is victory for a woman. Even in the dealings of Lord Krishna with his different queens, it has been seen that although the queens were the daughters of great kings, they placed themselves before Lord Krishna as his maidservants. However great a woman may be, she must place herself before her husband in this way. That is to say, she must be ready to carry out her husband's orders and please him in all circumstances. So to have a good relationship, to have a healthy relationship here Sukanya, she's understanding that Chavana Muni, his temper is not that great, and his mood is that he's better, yeah, he's better. So Sukanya is dealing with him in that way. She treated him in that way. She understood how he likes things and she did that. And that's how they are happy in their marriage. Prabhupada is saying that even the queens of Lord Krishna, they submitted to Lord Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada is saying that to have, you know, a, a good marriage, then if a wife can submit herself to the personality of the husband, they can live happily. When the wife becomes as irritable as the husband, their life at home is sure to be disturbed or ultimately completely broken. So in the modern day, the wife is never submissive and therefore home life is broken even by slight incidents. Either the wife or the husband may take advantage of the divorce laws. because there is no desire to find a compromise, to find a way of how to make the relationship work. According to the Vedic law, however, there is no such thing as divorce laws, and a woman must be trained to be submissive to the will of her husband. Westerners contend that this is a slave mentality for the wife, but factually it is not. It is the tactic by which a woman can conquer the heart of her husband, however irritable or cruel he may be. In this case, we clearly see that although Chyavanamuni was not young, but indeed old enough to be Sukanya's grandfather, and was also very irritable, Sukanya, the beautiful young daughter of a king, submitted herself to her old husband and tried to please him in all respects. Thus, she was a faithful and chaste wife. Any comments?
What a sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she
Mm,
knows how to conquer the heart of her husband.
mm,
Instead of
yes.
fighting with him, he is already irritable. So instead of fighting with him, she tries to please him, to win her heart, to win his heart.
It says, however great a woman may be, na,
Yeah,
she
however
has to.
great she is. Yeah, she, sometimes because the woman may be, her personality may, like, may be better than that of the man's. So to keep the family life together, because actually in Vedic laws, there was no divorce. They could be separated. Okay, live separately. You can't live together. Okay, live separately. But in Vedic society, there was nothing called divorce.
See, so
So the 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 woman would be trained that how to remain faithful. So to have a happy, healthy family life.
so
I
different.
think,
Yeah.
Shilpa ji, even in our society,
Mm,
just 10 or 15 years before, like in the society where we lived particularly, was the divorce was not so popular or common. You would never hear that they divorced until there was something very bad. The people would suggest them that, just sit down. Few people of the both the families would make them sit and would make them understand that, this is, and they would resolve their problem. This is, I'm talking like 15 years back. At least I haven't heard around in Jaipur, not at all, not in my relatives. But now it's very common, because the same thing that nobody wants to
Compromise, no?
tolerate. No, not
Okay.
tolerate. They don't want to tolerate
tolerate,
any
yeah.
injustice, like nothing, like even a small thing that could be solved, that could be resolved with families coming together, they don't want to resolve it.
Yeah,
So
nobody
the
is
tolerance
looking
is
to
lost.
resolve the problem.
Yes, because see, I mean, we have problems with our parents also, but we
Yeah,
resolve it. And now it's so much ego that they don't want to sit together and resolve it. Like, definitely, you can just say sorry and understand what the person is trying to say, or sometimes you also do a wrong thing. It's okay. But now that tolerance is lost. Sacrifice is a different level thing. Sacrifice is, but the tolerance is only not there.
yeah, yeah, tolerance. True.
But
It's not
relationship
there.
works on compromise, no? So like
Yeah.
Compromise.
But
Yeah.
they don't want, and actually, they are getting married at 30 when they are 30 years of age. So
Mm,
it's very difficult for them because their mind is set, and then they
yeah.
are independent, they are earning on their own. So
Used
they
to a
don't want
certain
to,
way of
yeah,
certain way. Used to a
yeah.
certain way.
So
so they're not ready to
it's
bend. Yeah.
difficult for them. Yeah. So I think that's what the things are changing very, very rapidly, very rapidly.
Yeah. It's true. It's
And I
true.
still remember I complaining my mom, and my mom said, just okay, just like how you in the beginning, and sometimes you just complain. It's okay,
Oh,
like
yeah,
you
of
tell your
course.
mom, and
Yeah,
then she
of
would be
course.
like, listen, this is not the way. I also tell you something, and then would you say same to me also about me also? It's
Yeah,
okay. So, she never listened. She never ever. So, like when your parents are only not listening, what will you do? You will compromise and you will, okay, it's okay.
yeah,
But that
yeah,
builds your relation and trust and love.
yeah.
That is
Like
what it
because
does.
you're forced to look into the circumstance, see,
Yes,
do I have to change? What do I have to do?
yes,
How can I,
yes.
yeah, make this
Make it
work?
better. Like
Yeah,
make it better, make it
how
work.
can I,
Because she said
yeah,
that, listen, I'm like, you have problems with me also.
yeah,
Everybody has problems with everybody. You didn't like me also at some times. You didn't like my point. So it's okay. You
yeah,
don't have to like everyone's point. It's
yeah.
okay.
That's a,
Ignore.
yeah, that's a good thing.
I remember like my parents would tell when I got married, like they said, listen, now that's your home now. That's your home. You
Yeah,
have to live there.
that's
Like, don't
right.
think, yeah. So this was what, like,
But
we
now
were,
they don't, right?
yeah,
Now they don't, Snehaji. Now they don't.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
they would
thing.
say, don't even tell us anything, all
Don't
these
tell,
things. You
yeah,
manage
that's your
yourself,
house
you
now.
know.
You have to
Mm-hmm.
get,
You
yeah, you
manage
have to
whatever you
adjust with
want to
your new
manage.
home, your new house, with your husband. Don't come back every time crying and all. I remember those who
Yeah, because this was like a kind of training that we used to get. Like, as you said,
yes,
don't come back crying, you know.
you're crying. Yes.
Yeah, unless,
But
of course,
now
it's
it's
like a
not, right?
big issue, like some big,
Now it's totally different. Now it's so
Mm-hmm.
different.
yeah, unless it was something like really big issue, the parents would just
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
you
yeah.
handle it yourself, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's true. Or as you said,
Yeah.
your mother told you, don't you have problems with me? You also have problems with me.
Yeah, she
You
said you have
just,
everyone has problems with
every,
everyone. So I
everyone,
mean,
you
it's not
just
a big
deal
issue.
with
It's
it.
okay. Just
Yeah,
ignore. It's
yeah,
okay. It will get better with time. You don't
yeah,
have
Yeah.
to
And we've
keep it to
seen,
your
like,
heart.
mom also, right? How they have,
yeah,
adjusted, how they have lived.
Mhm.
that's true.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
Yeah,
an
And they
example also.
valued relations. Actually, they valued
yeah,
every single
yeah,
relation.
valued the
Yeah,
relationship. Yeah,
they valued.
yeah, it's
And they said
true.
that it takes time. It takes time to establish that bond of love, faith, trust for each
Yeah,
other. So just be patient. It will work.
it's
So just
true.
tolerate, be patient, do your best. So, but now I just
Win your
pray that
husband's heart.
gets better.
I'm sorry?
No, I say like how to win, right? The heart of your husband.
I'll
So
do
this,
that. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
that's the way, like, yeah, that how
mm,
she did, right? With her
yeah.
husband.
Yeah, she understood how he wants to be treated, and then she's treating him in that way, winning his heart, you know. And then he'll give her everything then.
Mm.
That's how it is. How we see in that Kardama Muni also,
Devahuti.
Devati
Yes, yeah.
really pleased her husband, really took care of him, and then he made her
Mm,
such a big, like, queen of
palace.
such a
Mm,
Yeah.
palace and maidservants, and he gave her the best of best. Yeah. Okay.
wow.
So we can see times have certainly changed, values have certainly changed. As you say, you know, the relationships are not given as much importance now. Not nobody's thinking that this is valuing the relationship. Yeah. Okay. Let's stop here. And here we are learning how. So we can see Bhagavatam is giving so many different kinds of teachings. Yeah. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila
Jai,
Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai,
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare
Jai.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you for listening and joining in.